News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris. And there is your closing bell for this Thursday on Wall Street, where traders were distracted from the monthly jobs report that's coming out tomorrow because of President Trump's tariff policies, causing investors to pull out of the market. We do bring you the closing numbers each day here at Bloomberg. The S&P 500 lost 274 points. NASDAQ is down 1,050 points. The Dow lost 1,681 points. The 10-year Treasury yield is at 4.04%, and the 2-year yield is at 3.7%. Fed Governor Lisa Cook expects slower economic growth this year and stalled progress on lowering inflation because of these tariffs and other policy changes. President Trump, boarding Marine One, did not appear concerned at all about the rout on Wall Street.
We've never seen anything like it. The markets are going to boom. The stock is going to boom. The country is going to boom. And the rest of the world wants to see, is there any way they can make a deal?
President Trump likened the impact to an operation and says the patient is recovering. Apple is being heavily impacted by President Trump's new tariffs. Bloomberg Intelligence senior tech analyst Anurag Rana says Apple's sales in China were already weak before the tariff announcement.
What we were hoping by the end of this year, when they launch the next phone, Apple Intelligence will be in all the major regions. The new phone form factor come out, the slim iPhone 17 that Mark Gurman talks about, and all of that creates a new excitement. But, I mean, everything is fair game at this point.
Bloomberg Intelligence senior tech analyst Anurag Rana on Bloomberg Intelligence. Apple shares fell 9.3% during the regular session, touching a 7-month intraday low. Other countries responding to these tariffs. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney.
The global economy is fundamentally different today than it was yesterday. The system of global trade anchored on the United States is over. Our old relationship of steadily deepening integration with the United States is over.
Carney says Canada will add a 25% tariff on any non-Canadian content of imported automobiles from the U.S. French President Emmanuel Macron says European companies should pause U.S. investments in response to those tariffs. We get more from Bloomberg Paris Bureau Chief Alan Katz.
He actually asked EU companies to pause all investment in the United States for the moment. So this is not just tech specific. This is for all companies in all sectors saying, you know, if the U.S. is hitting us right now, how can you be investing in the United States?
Bloomberg's Alan Katz in Paris. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum says they'll increase their car production by 10%, their fuel production by 30%, and their goal is for most of their vehicles in Mexico to be made in country. China faces a 20% tariff, which Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick says will drop once China's leadership stops fentanyl production.
All they have to have is a phone call from President Xi to President Trump saying, I'm going to end fentanyl production that's killing Americans, and it drops 20%. I mean, that's a pretty inexpensive phone call.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick on Bloomberg Surveillance. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins says there are bound to be growing pains.
We knew that there would be some of that as people are adjusting, but at the end of the day, yesterday marked step one. This will be a short time of uncertainty, and then we'll move back to the prosperity that this president has envisioned.
Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins. Corn, wheat, and soybean declined in Chicago. Cotton fell in New York. Other stories we are watching. The Pentagon's Inspector General will conduct an investigation of the Signal group chat, where Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and other Trump administration officials discussed details of an impending attack on Houthi militants in Yemen. Bloomberg's Josh Wingrove says there is no sign Hegseth is going anywhere right now.
Of course, Trump also encourages people in his orbit when they're under scrutiny to dig in and fight. And so that often pulls them closer to the administration rather than creating a gap.
Josh Wingrove speaking with Bloomberg Business Daily. Some disappointing news on America's labor market ahead of tomorrow's monthly unemployment report. The total number of American workers collecting unemployment benefits rose to its highest number since November of 2021, suggesting that it's taking longer to find a job. The Trump administration's efforts to shrink the government amounted to more than 280,000 planned layoffs of federal workers and contractors across 27 agencies over the past 2 months. Overall job cut announcements by U.S. employers totaled more than 275,000 in March. That's a 205% increase from last year, and largely because of DOJ's actions. President Trump has reportedly moved to fire several White House National Security Council officials over concerns that they are not loyal to him nor his agenda. Sources tell the Associated Press far-right activist Laura Loomer urged the president to purge staffers she deemed insufficiently committed to his agenda. That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. Now, I'm Amy Morris. This is Bloomberg.